Hello everyone and welcome back to Afterward Gamers.
Yeah, we are so back now.
Yeah, after very long pause. We're so sorry, but yeah, life is life. Well, anyway, today we have a very spicy episode for you. We're gonna talk about and we're gonna dive into DEI in the gaming industry. What it is, how it's being applied, whether it's helping or harming creativity and game development quality. From corporate mandates to developer pushbacks, we unpack the impact of DEI consultants, like for example Sweet Baby Inc., and what us gamers can do about it. So, without any further ado, I'm Michal.
And I'm Matouš, and welcome back to Afterward Gamers.
So, what is DEI? Well, it stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are the three words that makes up the whole DEI thing, and it can be very helpful in some aspects.
By itself, it doesn't sound terrible, right?
Yeah, it's what I just makes up from just researching it, and when I was making this episode, when I was just researching it, what basically is a DEI, besides those three words, is organizational frameworks that seeks to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people, particularly groups who have been historically subject of discrimination based on identity or disability, which on its own sounds noble, it sounds honorable, it sounds good. But there's a big but. Yeah, we're gonna dive into that. It's just to introduce you what we're actually talking about. The AI companies are doing consulting for studios to ensure that diversity, equality, and inclusion are done right. Now,
at least from their point of view. Exactly.
That might be the big. That might be the main problem of the DEI today, and it's are they doing it correctly? Yeah. So, what specifically has gone wrong in the games due to DEI? What do you think?
I mean, it's kind of obvious. We've seen several examples, and I think we'll dive deeper into those a little bit later, but let's just say you can see a little deteriorating of quality in some games due to the developer having ties with those DEI consulting companies. Basically when DEI consultants or DEI, maybe the studios have their own DEI department, they usually prioritize messaging over quality. So you could say equality over quality.
Yeah, exactly. Equality.
But here's the thing, why is it a problem? I am all in for equality, but actual equality, what they are pushing is not necessarily equality.
Yeah.
It's, how to say it? It's trying to... It's like they would be trying to, instead of balance the scales, someone was a little bit pushed back. So instead of balancing the scales, they're trying to push it that much further in many cases.
Yeah. Well, for example, one of the big main DEI release that came out, I think 2 years ago. I don't care about this game. I just saw some gameplay. I was like, is this how is this even a game? So the game is called Dustborn, and it's basically a DEI game. It's basically a game about this band of diverse people. They have all those kind of things. Not just skin complexion, but also different mental illnesses and different identities, and they're on the tour as a band, and I don't know who wrote this, and this is just an activist game. It is what that's exactly what it is. Your some of your powers that you can use is being triggered.
Are you a Karen or something?
Yeah, it's basically a Karen game. It's basically like you know what, I understand that people can be triggered. I understand people have mental illnesses, but it should not be your superpower.
I mean, it can be when done right in the proper context, which here isn't. And by the way, I'm just checking on Metacritic, and we will maybe touch upon the critic score that are not exactly in line with the user score, but on Metacritic, user score, overwhelming dislike, 1.1.
Yeah. Now this game
out of 10.
Yeah. This game, like my personally, I didn't hear about it until like a few months back, when I don't even know the name of the YouTuber. I just randomly found about it, and the YouTuber was making let's play out of it, and like he was suffering the whole time because the game is, the writing is absolutely terrible. The characters are so annoying. The main character you're playing as is just douchebag to absolutely everyone. They, I don't know. It's just, it's just a terrible game. But this is just like, you know, the game is just there just to send a message. It's not about having fun. It's not about creativity. It's not about giving gamers good game, good experience. No, it's just about sending a message, and that's what's going on with these games. That's what's going on wrong with these DEI departments and new games, where this messaging is pushed over a quality. I would rather have, you know, as Bato said, I'm all for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and if you are against that, check yourself. But it has to be done right.
Yeah, it has to be the proper meaning of those words,
exactly.
Not the modern sense.
Yeah, and like for the DEI departments or the DEI, not studios, companies, the consulting companies, what they usually do, and I've seen it. I've seen it. I've heard it. I haven't experienced it myself, but usually, what's happening, as far as I heard, that these companies are forcing devs to make changes that stall the development, because the devs, you know, how the game is made. We talked about this once. There's a concept. The concept is shown to the people who stakeholders, someone who wants to invest into it. Okay, then there's a demo made. Okay, it works. Okay, and you already have all the concepts of the game at that point, and then the DEI companies, they're hired a little bit later when the story is already written.
Yeah, and the levels may be prepared, and some animations and voice acting.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, if you hire a consulting company like that, they tell you, okay, this needs to be changed, this needs to be changed, this needs to be changed, and all of a sudden you have totally different game that you started with. But because you had to make all those changes, you couldn't focus on the development. So you had to cut a lot of stuff because you paid for all of those features that the DEI department wants, and now you don't have time to implement other features that you were planning to have.
And there's even one more problem than that. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation when you're preparing something and you have to do some last-minute changes. You are not always able to think them through enough to figure out solutions for some problems that it may bring. For example, if you change something in a story, it can later make the story not make sense, for example, or be a bad story. And this is art. It takes time usually. So it's like, imagine if someone came to Leonardo da Vinci when he was painting Mona Lisa, say, hey, you need to change this and this about her so that she is more inclusive, while the image was already almost finished, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like that, the inclusivity part. Like I am all for like diversity and equity. That's without doubt. inclusivity, though, that's where it becomes a little bit hazy for me, because like a lot of them, like a lot of these departments or a lot of people who support this kind of thing, they say, oh, these people are unrepresented. Okay, that's fine, but you cannot represent them the way you are representing them. Like they need to be represented correctly and not be forced.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of brings me to a term that's been spread among us, the consumers, and that's usually the DEI hire, or in case of games or TV shows, movies, DEI character. Someone that's shoved there just to represent without having any meaningful contribution to the story, to the experience overall.
No, exactly. Yeah, and it's like it's disrespectful to that group.
Exactly. It's like even worse.
Like you think you are being inclusive, but actually you're being okay. These people, they don't deserve their own movie or game. No, but we need to shove them into something just to them to feel represented. It's disrespectful,
and it's even disrespectful to the other group, because you are shoving something that does not belong. Like, imagine that you would be making, I don't know, the Native Americans who be making a game about life of their ancestors, and you would shove their, I don't know, someone. I don't want to really touch upon the specific things, because I don't think we need to like be specific. But even if you shove someone from a very different culture, it might take the whole thing down, because honestly, it would not make sense.
Yeah, and these things are ruining the experience.
Yeah,
because like now you are shoved. You're being forced to see something that breaks the immersion. Usually, especially
if it's like historical piece or based on history.
Exactly.
And once again, it's fine if it's done when it's done right. Because, for example, if you make a movie about time travelers and they appear in the, 12th century Europe or something from, America or whatever, hey, it makes perfect sense that they are very different from the inhabitants in the Europe, and it would make sense if there was some interactions between them. Actually, some games and TV shows can handle that decently enough. For example, in the TV show Timeless, they are kind of handled when they traveled back in time, how they treated some people back in the day. So, you have to incorporate in the story. It has to. I like what someone said. These things, when you are trying to incorporate them, ask yourself a question. Does it contribute to the story? If the answer is yes, then yes, add it. If it contributes to the story or the experience. If the answer is no, then no, don't add these.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like to give you another example, I think who done it really well, it was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. When there is, Kingdom Come Deliverance is happening in the early 15th century Bohemian Kingdom.
Central Europe, for those who don't know.
Yeah, Czech Republic. And there is a character who is from Africa, or I think he's from Africa, but it makes sense that because he studied in the Charles University. He came to study in Charles University, and now he's, I think you can find him in Gutenberg or Kutnahora. So it makes sense. It's like, hey, this guy, and it's just, it's just some
somewhat
merchant.
Makes sense.
It's
not
somewhat makes like, yes, there were some black people in the medieval Bohemian Kingdom, but they were really rare. And this is the only character that they have there like that. So like I like how they done it. Like, he's not really important character. He's some kind of I think he's a merchant who may give you some kind of quest, but he's not really important character, because that would not make sense if he would be a noble. If he would be a noble, I think that would be very, very disrespectful to our history.
Yeah.
And And that's just to give you another example, like very very big. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. Big controversy on Netflix. Obviously, Netflix is kind of infamous for this.
Yeah, sadly.
The documentary about Cleopatra.
Oh man, oh boy.
I haven't seen the documentary, but.
I mean, you don't want to
You
because
don't want
it's
to.
not a documentary.
It's not a documentary.
Oh,
Well, they're presenting it as a documentary.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They said that the Cleopatra was the I don't know. There's the trailer for the documentary. The lady, one of the ladies said, my mother always told me.
I don't care what they say. Cleopatra was black.
Exactly.
Fun fact: she wasn't. She was
Macedonian.
She was, or Greek, or
Macedonian. She was Greek.
Yeah.
Apologies
exactly.
to our Greek Macedonian.
We're not super expert, but we know that it's in that direction, right?
Yeah.
And even, the thing is, you don't screw up when even the nation that it's about, Egypt, was very mad about that.
I think they're suing Netflix for that. So yeah, I don't know if in what state the court, what is the decision? I'm sorry for that was very weird for me, but yeah. So yeah, that was absolutely like, why? Like if you're doing something like this, make sure that you have all the facts right,
or that you follow the facts.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you need to change them, because of course, it's after all usually a fiction, and it's fine if you change something. Assassin's Creed has done it. I'm talking about the past games, not the new ones.
Oh, not the Shadows.
Sorry, I don't want to go into Shadows because I'm way into Japanese culture to stop it. No, but I mean the old games. Like if you played the original one. And they had some good ways how to, or like, they made it with a plan how to incorporate some of the, let's say, not natural stuff or not very historical stuff at the end of each game. I don't want to have some spoilers for those who haven't played it.
The game came out in 2007.
Okay, like the sci-fi stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's different though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like if you want to do the changes that are, in this case, completely bonkers, you have to have it to serve the story, serve the experience, and make it obvious that, hey, this is what we came up with. I don't think anyone in the right mind would agree that that's historically accurate. You should totally learn this thing from these games.
Yeah, I was like with historical stuff, especially like medieval or like
even older.
It's kind of like you have to read between the lines a lot because you don't have that many. You don't know how many stories are how much the stories are truth, and so you need to make up something like.
That's why it's called historical fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
Just call it a fiction.
Yeah.
Don't call it a documentary.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the other things, so we kind of keep moving forward, is that because of DEI departments are forcing devs into making the games they don't want to. There's a lack of creative freedom all of a sudden because
or at least constricts it
a
little too much sometimes.
Yeah. So
because when you're about to go through some stencil, then there's not much ways you can go, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's also one of the aspects that's kind of ruining the games due to DEI. It's sad to see. It's sad to see because there are great games that are coming out, and they're clearly showing, hey, you don't need that kind of a crap around to make a good game.
Exactly.
Quite the opposite, actually.
And you can actually include all of those things in the correct way.
Exactly.
Or at least some of them, because you don't have to have everything because it doesn't always make sense.
Yeah. You want to take the next point?
Oh yeah, that's. I don't know if you've seen. It was like a year ago. The few snippets of the presentation. I believe it was the Sweet Baby Inc. CEO making a lecture about how you should do this stuff. I just have to say this is not how you should do it. But they revealed that their business is mostly based on gaslighting and manipulation. They are trying to, one of her points was terrify the marketing team that if you don't do the things our way, then they will get backlash from the gamers, the bad tweets and stuff. Just show them this. And I mean, yes, you can get some tweets from people not in their right mind sometimes. If the game is good, I mean, that happens all the time. And let's face it, not everything is to the liking of everyone, and that's completely fine. But I don't think it's good to use as a technique to manipulate, because if you think about it, well, yeah, you will get some people that don't like the game. I mean, don't you get it all the time? That that happens when something is way too big. There will be always someone that doesn't like it, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
The thing is that it should be good for your target audience.
Exactly.
You should do your products so that they are liked, they are tailored to your target audience. Because, for example, in the movies, Star Wars, right? We all loved Star Wars, but now, I mean, there's only 6 mainline movies, right? The original trilogy and the sequels, and that's it. I mean, and the Clone Wars and some books. But my point is that they are basically enraging or doing stuff that is not liked by their target audience, by their target demography. And then they call the fans toxic when they either ignore it or say they don't like it. But, it's not toxic trying to raise your voice about something that you like being destroyed or damaged.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that she, right out admitted it.
Oh, you mean the CEO of the Sweet Baby?
Yeah. That she said, terrified. Who in their right mind say that?
Yeah.
You can say, okay, you can say it in a different way, but they are right out admitting what they're doing. It's crazy, and people are ignoring it, and we need to stop ignoring it, to be honest.
You know what's worse about this? It seems that the ties with Sweet Baby Inc. are not necessarily decided by the people who are actually working on the game, but by the higher management, or at least it seems to me like that. For example, the investors or the higher management are approached and say, yeah, if you don't have this, your game will be bad or get bad rep or whatever. And then the developers are then forced into collaboration with them. And with these topics, it's usually when you say something against it, because it's done wrong in this way.
Yeah, that's true.
Usually you are the bad guy because you don't support this. You're mean, you're racist, you're bigot or whatever. And even if it's not true, right?
Yeah.
It's actually the opposite way.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. That's I'm still baffled. I'm still baffled. That this is a thing we need to deal with today.
And it's the sad thing about this is that they're trying to shove this and change the stuff that's already established that we liked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely fine if you want to do things your way, but if you do it in your own franchises, your own stories, your own games, and we'll see how successful they will be.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, I don't really care. I probably wouldn't play them because, I'm not really into that, but hey, maybe if they do something absolutely amazing, maybe I will want to play it. But I don't think that's very likely to happen with this approach.
Look at Dustborn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing you said, yes, it's the higher ups who hire these people, but it's also the publisher who says, okay, we're gonna.
Yeah.
You have a studio who needs game to be published. They come to publisher and they said, okay, we're going to publish your game, but you have to consult with DEI. and that's when it's like, why? Just let me make my game.
Oh yeah.
So I just want to publish it. That's all I need from you. I don't need consulting, but like it's part of their contract, so they have to do it. And then,
or I mean, the higher ups have some ways, or the publishers, how to, force this onto the studio.
Yeah,
it's not just necessarily like you have it contract, but like there are ways how they can push it still.
Yeah, exactly. So here comes the question, right? How much is too much?
Yeah, that is very good question, because in the past we have topics like these, even forcefully sometimes injected into some games, but it was so little. Yeah, some background character or some side quest that you have to find to encounter or whatever, and honestly none of us really cared because it was so little. But now, when it's shoved way too much, even these little things sting. You know, like they're like a little needle that's just there, and you are aware of it.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, it made me a bit paranoid. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, because like I don't want to look at those stuffs, but like sometimes I'm like, is it forced? Is it not forced? Does it make sense? But there's a lot of rage bait content on the internet. Like, let's be honest, like there's a lot of people who just make everything in about DEI and woke and everything. Like, for example, God of War Ragnarok, when they
actually were consulted by Sweet Baby Inc.
They were, and they made, sadly, one of the characters, Angerboda, was made black, and like a lot of people were angry with that. Like, but it's just her skin complexion, and there's nothing else. That they like didn't change much of the. Like, let's be honest. Like, when it comes to Norse mythology, we have only 2 books that we can rely on, and even them were very, very changed because both of the writers were Christians. One of them was a priest, so it's very heavily influenced by Christian culture. So like, we don't know much about how actually Norse mythology, how it was, the religion, or the religion, how it was. If anything, you should be mad at Marvel, for crying out loud. Like Marvel, how did they do Thor? That's absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, so there's like a lot of rage bait content like this, but there comes a point where it's way too much.
But this also can have an effect on, let's say, case in point, how it can be absolutely perfectly fine and you don't even notice. It's an older movie. It's a movie, I guess we've all seen, Shawshank Redemption, right? Amazing movie, freaking legend. And it has just great stuff. And the character, Red, played by Morgan Freeman, And if you read the book, you would know that the character of Red was called Red because he was ginger and he was Irish. But in the movie, nobody, and I mean nobody, cared that he was portrayed by Morgan Freeman because he was just so good. Even the creators originally were considering multiple actors, as far as I know. And when Morgan Freeman was doing the audition, they were amazed how good he was a fit for that character. And here's the thing, like, if it serves the story, serves the experience, you can do whatever and it will work just fine, and nobody will care. People will even love it. It's one of the revered Morgan Freeman's roles, because let's face it, he's a great actor.
Oh yeah,
and he's done a lot of great movies, and Shawshank Redemption is definitely one of them. And so nobody cares that he portrayed Irish character because it just made sense.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the other example from the other side. Recently released, Disney released Snow White.
Oh man, you mean the
Snow White
Crab Brown and the 7 diverse individuals?
Yeah, exactly. yeah, exactly. They didn't even call them dwarves; they just called them magical creatures. Firstly, like everyone was upset that Rachel Zegler, Latino, is playing the character, even though that the character is described as
skin as white as snow. So she would be albino, if anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like, okay, like race, like I'm not gonna lie. Rachel Zegler is not an ugly woman. Like she's not.
And she's not a bad actor.
She's a good actor. She's a great singer. The problem was that. Like, well, her comments about the about the movie. The main problem was with the 7 dwarfs, and it started when the movie was like announced or something. The day they're working on it, and actor who has dwarfism, Peter Dinklage, went on a podcast and complained that you're still making movie with dwarfs.
With dwarf actors, yeah.
With dwarf actors. Which I'm like, you made a big career out of that. Like you were in Narnia, you were famous in Game of Thrones.
And X-Men.
You made your career on that. Which makes sense. You have dwarfism. That's fine. Like we love you. You're a great actor. But then Disney saw that and was like, we're gonna have a backlash. Or as I say, there maybe the DEI department. Okay, we're gonna have a problem here, so they made the dwarves into 7 magical creatures, and there were like 7 people.
They were the crab CGI character.
Yeah, the
7 people. Here's the thing: the 7 people are actually the diverse individuals are actually the bandits, as far as I know. But we originally thought, because they showed us the picture, we originally thought that would be the dwarves.
Well,
I mean, there may have been considered as that at one point.
No, first they were supposed to be.
Or at least we thought they would be. Yeah.
They were supposed to be the dwarves, but because of the backlash, they had to reshoot it.
And that they made all the dwarves into, how to say that, not good CGI characters. I think I don't really blame the artists because that direction and that timeline, I mean...
No. Like, yeah. So... see how it hurts the industry, and yet they still are like making those kind of decisions. Disney is on a roll to be forgotten soon if they continue.
By the way, I have to say, I have to hand it to Miss Zegler. Sincere thank you. After the new Snow White movie, Disney announced they will cancel all the live-action remakes. So
did they?
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Did they?
Yeah, they said they canceled all the live-action remakes of their old stuff.
When did they say that?
I don't know, few weeks ago, or something like that.
Okay.
And I love that.
I know that they plan a lot.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing about DEI and stuff like that. When we kind of already touched upon that they usually capitalize on already established stories and franchises, right?
True.
So Disney with that was kind of like with these consultants and people, they even employed them directly. They were basically capitalizing on their already established and beloved franchises. Like Snow White. And the success of the Snow White movie was based on actual story. So I don't think we need to delve that much deeper into Snow White. There are several videos that do analysis on that. They are amazing. So
it's I just want to say one thing. Disney didn't write those stories. He borrowed them from Brothers Grimm's or other authors who collected them from like villages and stuff. Like those stories used to be. It's just a fun fact. You know, you might remember Snow White as a lovely story of love and innocence and but the story I was told when I was a kid is a tad bit different. Like everything is there, you know, the apple, she dying, or rather, the story I was told that the apple she doesn't wake up after the kiss, but because it's really weird. The original story is that the prince sees her, falls in love with her, takes the corpse or the body with her to the castle, and as he is riding on a wagon, the wagon runs over a stone. You know, the whole wagon jumps a little bit, and the apple falls out of her neck, of her throat, and that's how she wakes up. At the ending, that's where it's like those stories used to be brutal. So
Cinderella is even more brutal.
Yeah. The ending of sorry, rambling about that. It's just interesting that the story ends with the evil queen comes to the wedding of Snow White and the prince, and like thinking. Like still with intention of killing Snow White or something. So as a punishment, they catch her as a punishment. They put iron boots that are heated up, and she needs to dance in them, and she dances in them until she dies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And fun fact about the Red Riding Hood. The only character that survives is the huntsman. That's the only one who survives Red Riding Hood. So
yeah, I mean, like
the stories were crazy back in the day.
Yeah, these are stories, and here's the thing: like if you're doing adaptation like a movie, you can do it very faithful. You can do it very differently, but still good, or you can use it as cannibalizing on its popularity. For example, one thing that comes to mind of adaptation that is totally different from the source material, but still great. I don't know if you know How to Train Your Dragon.
Of course.
Amazing movie. Well, I haven't read the books, but I recently was pointed out, so I Googled a little and find out that actually the movies are very different from the books.
Yeah,
they basically borrow the setting and the character names, but like the Toothless, the dragon, is actually a pocket-sized.
Oh.
And stuff like that. And there's no war in the books, at least at the beginning, as far as I Googled. So, yeah. And you know what? We don't hate it. We love it because it's great.
Yeah, because it's a good movie. Yeah, like there's obviously there are going to be fans who's going to be mad. You cannot please everyone, and that's okay. No. It's okay if you don't like it, but it's when it's just what comes to my mind now is the Witcher series.
Oh, actually, talking about that very good point about doing things and pleasing everyone, and they're apologizing about that. Like when Henry Cavill was cast as the Witcher.
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of, let's say, disturbed. Like, would he be good as the Witcher?
I don't think so, to be honest. When I saw the first showing of his character, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we all thought. And his approach was the best. He said, well, I understand. It's a character they all love. And I hope they will give me a chance because I am doing my best to bring the character to life the best I could because I love that character. And yeah, if they don't like it, then I guess I failed or something like that. I don't really remember exactly what he said, like word for word, but something along those lines. Like, hey, it's fine if you are a skeptic. I hope you give me a chance because I'm doing my best. And if you don't like it, that's okay.
That's really a good approach.
And here's the thing, like that's about the approach. Are you trying to bring the character to life the best of your ability, or are you trying to bring an agenda to the best of your ability?
Yeah, exactly.
Despite destroying what made the original so magic, despite what made the original beloved by audience. I mean, you can see how the franchises we mentioned are bleeding fans because
exactly
the worst thing is happening to them. Not people angry about that, which still generate them some media coverage and stuff. No.
Yeah.
Apathy. People just don't care
Exactly.
anymore. They ignore because, is it worth your time and energy to be mad about something when you see that they are not getting better?
Yeah.
Just getting worse? No, just ignore. Don't buy.
Yeah, don't buy. Yeah. But we're going to talk about that. Yeah. But let me move on a little bit. We, as gamers, we're both gamers. We're not just two guys talking about here with from some kind of pedestals. We're there with you, but gamers are okay with correctly implemented diversity. As Beto said, we usually don't care if the character is black if it's done correctly, or if it's gay, or like for example, when I first time played The Last of Us and the DLC Left Behind, when there's revealed that Ellie is actually lesbian, I was like, okay. So like
there it's the thing that there it is done not in a very shoved into your face
exactly
way, right, like it's not pushed that hard.
Yeah.
But Last of Us Part 2,
that's a different story. That's a different story. Yeah,
that's no.
Yeah. So that's something that I wanted to say, that like gamers are okay with this. Just do it in the right way. Don't do it just because you want to do it, just because you think it's needed. No, just think about it. As Bator said, does it serve the product? Does it serve the story?
To experience the story? Yes, exactly.
If
that's
it
the
doesn't,
point.
just don't do it.
And let's face it, I guess we all gamers loved some characters that were in those minorities, let's face it, because they were just awesome characters.
Exactly.
And that's completely fine.
Yeah. So what if companies cut ties with DEI? Like
it's really amazing.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be like? What if they would say like no more Sweet Baby Inc. and what do you think? Would we see a return to better storytelling in game design, or is there a little bigger problem?
I mean, I think the problem is that yes, this is one of the bigger problems, but there are also others, like, for example, that publishers or higher management that are completely out of touch and don't play games have that much power over the game developer, so that they can shove DEI into that, right?
True.
But also, I think even if these companies stopped existing, it's like it would take some time to heal, because the processes and stuff might have changed a lot. Because if you are expecting to have some outsider tell you how to make your games and characters worse, you just slightly change the process so that it doesn't impact you as much. So you are kind of expecting that there will be stuff like that. So you're kind of planning ahead for any eventuality, let's say.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to take some time to heal, but hopefully we're getting there. Hopefully, slowly. I think that companies are starting to realize that if you're gonna the games that push these kind of agendas, they don't do well. That is a fact. Like a lot of games that had like Sweet Baby Incorporated and others like that, the games flopped. Not all of them.
No.
God of War, Ragnarok. I think God of War Ragnarok is too big of a game.
And also, here's the thing. It depends also how much involvement they have.
Yeah,
if they have just some slight consultancy so that the management can check the box, it might not necessarily have that huge of an impact, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, or it can just get you a bad rep in some regard.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, Spider-Man 2, I wouldn't say it's an unsuccessful game.
No, it's not.
But the changes of how Mary Jane looked were definitely discussed on the internet. So, and a lot, and criticized. Rightfully.
A lot of female characters are changed to look more masculine.
And that's
neutral.
Kind of the problem of DEI is changing. What men want to be strong, what female want to be. Pretty,
or yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
female-
it's like very. Of course, I'm very like simplifying it, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like one of the direction when we all want to be, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
when you play games, you want the main characters to be strong and the female characters to be pretty.
You know, it's they're saying like, oh, I don't want to be represented.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to play like as me. I want to play as a badass character who kicks
Exactly.
butt. Like that's what I want to. That's what I want to play as. I don't want to play as me. That's ridiculous. Like I'm
Right.
half Roma. I don't need to be represented. I don't need to.
I'm not exactly strong and fit, you could say,
Exactly,
in all regards,
exactly.
but I like to play as like super strong characters.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I don't need to be there represented. I don't want to look at myself. Like I can make if there's a character creation, I can make something like me, but I'd rather like play as But yes, but. Like, for example, Baldur's Gate 3, I can make myself, and that's fun to see myself doing cool stuff like that. But I don't need...
Usually when you create yourself, you create better version
Exactly,
of yourself.
exactly.
You know, that's the thing. Like you play games, one of the reasons we like them so much, because they let us experience a better reality, more fun reality, where things are better or where we have more power.
I don't know if better is the right word. I would say
Right.
more fun. But
Yeah.
there's nothing...
You get a point.
There's nothing... don't get us wrong. There's nothing wrong the way we are. Like, I'm
We're
not
fine
gonna
with
say...
that.
Yeah, I'm fine with how I look. Oh, I could lose...
Somewhat fine
I
with
could
that.
lose some kg. I could lose some weight. Yeah, but but there's nothing inherently wrong with me.
Yeah.
But I don't need to necessarily see myself in a movie or a video game. That's ridiculous.
That's one of also the points, by the way, how it was when it's POV. You know, we as gamers like to experience things in the games from sometimes different POVs. So if you have a game where you play as some specific minority and it's done as a POV and brings you, hey, this is what he or she or that character can feel, it's great. But yes, it's
yeah, but let's just look at it.
Does not have to be there like done just so it's done.
Yeah, exactly. Just like I'm gonna just list some games like Saints Row from 2022, Forspoken.
Very successful game, right?
That was terrible. Gotham Knights. That was also fail. That's so sad because like, and another one that's kind of from the DC universe, Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, we are the Suicide Squad players.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait.
Yeah. And then Flintlock, which went through development hell, and it came out as half-baked. Nah.
And then there was a game that flopped so hard they had to pull it from the market. Concord.
Goodness gracious! Like that was such a failure from PlayStation. Yeah, and then more recent, Dragon Age: The Wild Guard, which is basically just like Dustborn, just a DEI release. That's like, how did you put it? Like, no, how did your friend put it?
Well, the thing is, like, from what I know, that it's not all that bad. Like, there's still some of the original work behind that, but from what I heard, every character that you start a discussion or like talking to, interacting with, greets you with "I'm non-binary" or something like that.
Yeah.
Guess what? I don't care.
yeah, exactly.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. Like in real life, like that's not how just people talk.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm not gonna go to a random person that I want to talk to and say, hey, what are your pronouns? Or what do you?
Oh yeah.
Who are like what are you? That's not how conversation goes.
Exactly.
Writers, think before you write stuff because this is ridiculous. Honestly, like I don't have anything else to add because it's so bad. It's so obvious how bad it is. Like conversations, like dialogue in video games, should be good, should be natural, should be, even though it's more of a epic nature or more poem like, it should still feel natural.
Or like, not necessarily natural, but here's the thing: when you make some world, some boundaries, some rules, it should feel right in that world. So
Exactly.
if you natural in that world of the game, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean there can be worlds where this would be natural, but I don't think they would make for fun games.
Yeah, exactly. So like if devs would cut ties with Sweet Babying and
Consulting companies,
consulting
and stuff,
companies
that would
like
be amazing.
yeah, like if they would prioritize quality over the messaging, yes, we could see more of a return of good storytelling and devs would not be pushed into meaningless decisions that hurts the industry and hurts their game. Yes, we can then see more of a better games, I think.
Yeah.
It's not all of that, like, obviously. Like, what we're trying to say with this episode, that the DEI is not the main problem, but it is a big part of the problem. So
it's one of the problems.
It's one of the problems. So do you think the devs should push back more?
I'm not sure they actually can, but they definitely should try to at least avoid or ignore those companies, ignore what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is that sometimes even if you hear that, you might think like that's the thing. They have a huge influence, even if they are not consulting with a specific developer, because they changed in a bad way the industry, brought some bad practices and bad changes, and I think their influence is even on those devs that didn't want to work with them, but they thought, hey, maybe that's the way it should be. Or sometimes just hearing about something way too much may want to, or may make you change something that you shouldn't. And here's the thing, it's like with creativity, right? When you're writing a song, for example, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's the greatest example, but it's sometimes best not to listen to some other song, so that you wouldn't, carry over the song you listen to,
Yeah, true.
And this is the thing, like, you want to have, if it's your story, then try to not listen to these influences, specifically these influences.
Yeah. The problem is those people are usually the loudest.
Sadly.
And like, it's we cannot shut them up because we have freedom of speech, and that's fine. But
yeah, they have their right to say that.
Yeah, but we can, as Pato said, we can choose to ignore them, and then we can.
And here's the thing: they have right to say that. That's fine, but they don't have the right to force us to do something about it. Right? We have our free will. They have their free speech, but guess what?
Yeah,
we have to.
Yeah, again, like, the DEI itself is not a terrible idea. It's not something we should, like, no diversity, no inclusivity. No, that's not what we're trying to say. But just don't do it in the right way. Think about it. Like, just do it in a subtle, meaningful way. Because if you're just gonna push everything, just force it into our faces, then obviously we're gonna say, okay, hey, put it out of my face.
Here's the thing with the inclusion. For example, I don't know if you ever heard a lecture or talked with people with some disabilities and stuff. I think in the Good Doctor TV show, the main character summed it up nicely. What, as far as I know, I might be wrong. Sorry if I am. If you are experiencing something like that yourself, but the main character summed it up pretty nicely. He's got the ASD, the autistic spectrum disorder. So he's, as it's named, neurodivergent. And his point is, I don't want to be known as a good doctor with autism. I want to be known as a good doctor.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, why you shouldn't force this, because you don't want there a character to be because he has autism or something, but because he is a good character.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't want your game to be known as the DEI game. You want to be known as a good game.
Yeah, that's the thing. We talked about the term DEI character, because usually why it's called DEI character is a character that usually has checks some of these boxes, let's say, from the DEI, but otherwise has zero character or 0 to none. Yeah, like almost nothing. It's like they're just there to have to represent, and that's it.
Yeah, so basically a checkbox release.
Yep.
It's checkbox release, yeah. That needs to stop. Like, honestly, I'm tired of checkbox releases, because it's just
it goes
terrible.
against the art.
Yeah,
art shouldn't be constricted in these ways.
Yeah,
the only thing that art should be constricted with, I would say, is a budget. I mean, you need some limitations, but not in this regard.
Yeah, exactly. There needs to be creative freedom, and obviously, don't go on full racist or for like discrimination, but.
But I mean, there are topics that you can work with.
Exactly, and you can use those topics to like make a point, like like Dragon Age.
No, I would say the topic you can use your favorite, The Witcher books.
Yeah,
Sapkowski worked with the topic of racism, I would say, very well. The Sintra murdering the elves. That's pretty racist, I would say.
Yeah,
and that's a nice way to work with the topic to like. Show, hey, racism is bad, and killing other people of other race is bad.
I didn't want to say The Witcher because you I'd be tired of
Everybody knows The Witcher. Everybody knows you love The Witcher.
Yeah, so yeah, just create great experience.
Yeah,
just don't
focus on what makes the great experience. What will make your players happy. Because, here's the thing that, once again, borrowed from movies. But, movies about LGBTQ, whatever, people, they are not anything new. They were there, 20, 30 years ago. But they were not massive releases. They were for small audiences that wanted them, that liked them. And that's, that's completely fine.
Yeah,
just focus on your audience.
But now it's everywhere, and it's not just it's not just like, hey, they're lesbian. It's part of their character. No, it's what the character is about. Like, this character is gay, so that's why he's here, and that's all he's about. And I'm for example, I started to watch a show called The Rookie. It's really good. It's about LAPD.
Nathan Fillion, you might have heard about it.
Yeah, he's great. He's great there. There is a gay character, but it's not just what's that about. Like, you maybe notice it like it's like mentioned so far. I don't know how much episodes I watched, but I know that it's mentioned just a few times, and that's fine.
I think it even has some like some more exposure and stuff about that, but not done in a.
It's not done in
a way that would harm the story.
Exactly.
It's part of the character, and here's the thing: he has a character.
Yeah.
Aside from this, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So that's how you can do it right. Just giving you a modern example, something that might be not like for us as gamers, but maybe you're interested in it. Like, if it's done correctly, it can be good. And honestly, most of the time we don't care.
Yeah, exactly. The worst can happen that we would be indifferent, and that's completely fine.
Yeah. So what us as gamers can do, one thing, we say it almost every time. Vote with your wallet.
Yes.
Think about what you buy. Think about who you're buying from, and just make an educated decision.
You watch the reviews, They're there for a reason, and it depends on what reviewers you follow. I recommend mostly those, I would say, more independent, which is always the same person doing the review, because it tells you more about, what they like, what they dislike, and you notice things like that more. So, yeah.
You have any recommendation?
for example, I don't know if you know Critical Drinker. Not all people like him, and I don't agree with him on anything, but he has a channel, Critical Gamer. And although, as I said, I don't agree with all of his points, he makes some very good points, for example. So you can follow him on, I believe he's on YouTube. He also does movies, and he hosts the Open Bar, which is like a podcast where they discuss stuff like that. Or, for example, your favorite video game donkey.
I don't know if he's my favorite, but I like him. Yeah.
So he also has some interesting points, and he tries to do it in more of a, how to say it?
Humorous.
Yeah, or sometimes more hyperbolic, and
Yeah. My recommendation would be Angry Joe Show. They're really good with their reviews because he just doesn't hold back. If you screwed up, he'll let you know. Like,
yeah,
it's great. I would also recommend The Act Man. He is also really good. He was actually a lot of my inspiration for our episode about what was it? Similar episode to this one, but it was more of a focused on the
war on video.
War on video games. That's it. Yeah, War on video games episode, which you can listen. Link below. So, anything else we can do?
I mean, we can also, if you bought something and didn't know there was stuff like that, you can leave it in your review, for example, on Steam. Just a point, please don't try to be, be respectful, you can, when you don't like something, you can say, I don't like it, rather than be angry and raging and whatever. Like, no, those activists that do it never achieve anything. So don't be like that. Just say, hey, I don't like this because this. And inform your friends that, for example, maybe wanted to buy the same game.
Yeah.
And you tell them, hey, that's there. Yeah. It's still good in some regards, credits where it's due. That's fine. But inform them, and maybe they can decide based on whether it's a thing for them or not.
Yeah, I would say appreciate and support those who do it right.
Go Nintendo. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
No, that was kind of a joke, but yeah, they do it right because they don't usually go into these topics.
Yeah, because they make games for kids.
I mean, they make the best games, and I would say Bayonetta is not that.
That's
for
true.
Kids.
That's true.
I mean, it's external developer, and they kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. But there are devs who those who earned your trust, who you like, appreciate them, thank them by, as Bato said, by review or buying their games, and push back against those who are not doing it right. Because if you're not gonna push back, this will never go. It might never go away, but as consumers, we have a power to make things right. And if we're gonna stop buying the stuff that are terrible and push back against those ideologies that are hurting the things that we love, then we can actually make a big change. If we unite as a gamers, you need to understand gaming industry is bigger than movie and music industry combined. Huge. So we have power to change stuff.
Power of not buying stuff,
Yeah.
If all of us unite and don't buy the next crap release.
Yeah. And it's happening. It's happening. Velgard, Dragon Age Velgard, poor sales, very poor sales. Still bigger than it's still a big game. So, but
Concord is a nice example.
Yeah, Concord, or from the movie industry, like Snow White dropped very, very badly, and it's another out of the in a line of flops. So as you can see, we can do stuff when we put our back to it, and when we unite together. Do I sound like communist right now?
I'll pull it out. Well, I have one recommendation how you can do that.
Yeah.
If you're on Steam,
Yeah.
You can follow Sweet Baby Ink Detected Curator. So whenever you open a store page for some games, there's a note from that curator. For example, Sweet Baby Ink involved, or they did that. And there's even a web page of those people, the DEIDetected.com. And there's...
Link in below.
Oh, yeah. We will definitely link it, at least on YouTube. We will try to link it where possible. And they are notes for games that have involvement. Sometimes it's not much. For example, in we talked before we started filming, showed Michal here the site for the new HD 2D remasters of the Dragon Quest, that they were involved in doing some censoring, like they made, instead of choose your character male or female, there was type A and type B. I mean, why would you do that? But like small stuff like that might not be an issue for you. And there are some more when they were involved. So it's on Steam.
Can you open that? The Helldiver said no to what?
It's a video. I will not play that.
Oh, Helldiver has said no to the DEI. That's true, because that's one reason why I really like the game, because they said no to this kind of crap. They said because obviously it's a fiction, so it's Super Earth, so everyone is under one nation basically. So there's no flags, there's no inclusivity like that. Everyone is from Super Earth. Everyone, no matter what color, complexion, no matter of what sexuality or whatever. Everyone is just like in Starship Troopers. It doesn't matter. So you can follow curators like these, and there's also more you can do. You can download mods that fix that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes some of these sites, I know there was controversy in some of these sites that they removed a mod that removed the pride flag from, I believe, Spider-Man game or something. Exactly.
But hey, we have this freedom of speech. You can just find the mod elsewhere. And if these mods are downloaded a lot, then hey, maybe it will send a message that we might actually like things differently.
Or another thing that I just think of you can do is be the creative person. I'm not necessarily saying make a game, but you can write an article, you can make a video, you can do something creative if you want to. You're not powerless. Look at us. We're just two dudes in a small studio recording on a camera, and we're making podcast. You can do the same. I just want to encourage you, fight back.
Or you can do the same by sharing this episode.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, just the small things. You can do a lot. Never ever say that you are powerless, because you can do stuff you cannot even imagine.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like yes, single person might not have as much power, but as Michal said, if we unite, we have a whole lot of power.
Apes together strong.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's kind of concluded this whole episode. So remember.
Well, maybe before we remember, I would like to end this on maybe slightly more optimistic note, because I think I'm hopeful that we can expect a brighter future, because it seems we already, as the gamers, as we mentioned, a lot of these games were flops. A lot of the Disney movies that included way too much DEI were flops. They can cancel the live-action remakes, and that is something. So, I think it might be starting to move in the right direction, but we have to be patient, because, the managers, the higher management usually take... if you're out of touch, it takes a long time before you realize something. And then there's the long development cycle. But I want to expect a brighter future.
Yeah, that's true. Right. And on that note, we're going to say bye-bye. And we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow us on social media, like Facebook or Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening on, and
give us a like.
On Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Please rate us, because I heard that really helps the algorithm to get this podcast to different people. obviously share our podcast if you liked it, if you want other people to hear our opinion, if you think we're right. And also, obviously, don't be afraid to start respectful discussion in the comments, whether it's on here on YouTube, or now you can do it also on Spotify. Yeah. So, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. And, whatever happens, as always,
you can game after work.